Hello, everyone. Welcome to Liam's Lyceum. I'm your host, Liam, aka Himbar, and today I'm doing my weekly update. This is Liam's Leapings number 101 for the 22nd of September, 2024. So, first off, actually, my book comes out in 2 days, um, on Tuesday. Okay, you can get this book, Dreamer Awake. It's a novella, pretty short, and hopefully it's enjoyable. If you do read it, please leave me a review on Goodreads and Amazon. I'd really appreciate it. You don't have to enjoy it. Obviously, you can leave me a bad review if you think it's garbage. Um, it is sword and sorcery though, so I feel like sword and sorcery might be more of your alley. Um, so this week though, I finished Six Stains. Actually, I wanted to finish just four, but I was like, well, I'll tell you why I finished Six Stains when I get to those things. So, the first book I finished was Return to the Whirl, which when I finished, I actually put it back on the shelf, so it's up there. But that is the last book in the solar cycle. I was pretty close to finishing this one last week, um, and it's really good to have finished. But I feel like I just hit the beginning rather than the end when I finished it. So I might have to reread the whole solar cycle, which has been a thought of mine anyways. I don't reread a bunch of books. I reread The Lord of the Rings, and that's pretty much it. But after first reading, Book of the New Sun, I was like, I need to reread this. And I haven't done that yet because I hadn't finished the rest of the solar cycle. So I might start doing that. But again, that's just like, as much as I enjoy those books, do I want to spend so much time reading them? Because that's uh, uh, 12 books the whole solar cycle, so that's not short. Anyways, I did really enjoy Return to the World though. I also finished Lest Darkness Fall by Elsbrock de Camp. Very fun alternate history, but it didn't really age that well. I'm just gonna like caveat that. Like it definitely has some outdated things to say the least in its case, so beware. But it is also in a very similar vein to Mark Twain's A Connecticut Yankee and King Arthur's Court. So if you like that, you might like this. I liked it mostly because it deals with the Gothic Wars of Justinian, and I think that's cool. So, uh, anyways, but it was enjoyable enough. Most of the characters are ding dongs, but that's kind of what I expect. So, um, the other book, let's see, the next two books I read were The Bones of the Old Ones by Howard Andrew Jones, which was a sword and sorcery historical setting, but sword and sorcery novel set in Mosul rather than Baghdad. And it is about some sorcerers and spirits and unnatural winter pretty much going on in Mosul. Um, I think dealing with some Khazars too. So it's pretty interesting, pretty good novel. I liked it a little bit more, I think, than Desert of Souls. So it's a fun concept, and just an entertaining story in general. And then the last book of the four that I had planned to finish was A Fire in the Sun by George Alec Effinger. I think I like this one a little bit more than When Gravity Fails. These were both cyberpunk novels. Um, A Fire in the Sun kind of hit me harder. It's interesting. I really appreciate like how it's almost like a thriller, but it's more of just a noir mystery thing. But I really appreciate just how little he kills. Which in contrast, though, we have the Escher Man, which is a cyberpunk novel that came out this week, and there's a lot of killing. It's like the default setting is to just shoot someone. So, and that's very much a thriller. And so I think the contrast there is interesting, and I enjoyed the Fire in the Sun more than Escher Man. I think the Escher Man does do some good stuff looking at memory, particularly in a cyberpunk way, dealing with modern problems. But I feel like I already have the review out for this, but I've read some of the short stories, TR Number short stories in Neon Leviathan, which also deal with memory, and I felt like they were a little bit more poignant, maybe when they were 20-page heavy hitters rather than 300-page novels that I kind of got the point at a certain point, and the novel keeps on going on. So not a bad novel, maybe my least favorite of Napper's stuff, and that's not what I was expecting. So those are the four books I had expected to finish, plus the Escher Man. So the other one that I had not expected to finish, but I got an arc for The Walls of Shira Yulun by Dario R.A. Kyoge, Dario Kyoge, who I'm actually going to be interviewing here at the end of the month. I think the interview would probably come out at the beginning of October, so look out for that. Um, and this is a fun. It's an arc, so the Kickstarter is going on now. I'll mention that. The cool thing about this Kickstarter actually is that it's a double novella, kind of. So basically, the idea is ace doubles from back in the day. So it's two novellas just in one book, and like you flip it over and you get a different cover for one book, and then flip it over in the cover for the other book. So the other one is Waste Flowers by Brent Hammond. So I've also started reading that. I'm not finished with Waste Flowers, but so yeah, I just put Kyoge's above Hammond's in this case just because I'm talking to Kyoge, but I actually finished it a lot quicker than I thought I would. So I'm really close to finishing Waste Flowers as well. Those reviews will hopefully come out soon because, again, they're both on Kickstarter right now. So if you want to support them, they're sword and sorcery. They have a very different flavor. Waste Flowers is a lot more mellow feeling, I would say, a lot more atmospheric in a sense. Kyoge's Walls of Shira Yulun is much more action oriented, I think, and a swifter read. But both good, and they're both Mongolian, like steppe sword and sorcery type of thing. So if that sounds cool to you, you want some Mongolian fantasy, then you might want to try these out. I'll try to remember to link that Kickstarter below. So, anyways, another arc. I have too many arcs right now. There's one sitting over there, which I haven't got to yet. Oh, I realized I don't even have one of the books I started reading. That's the physical one I have, so I was going to read that after I finish A God in Chains, which is I'm forgetting. I'm still not done with The God in Chains, so then I'll start that one. And then I have an arc for Red Sonja, whatever the subtitle is, Red Sonja something. I didn't write it down. Red Sonja consumed. I started that. I'm not very far into it. Yeah. So I got an arc though for Contra Amatores Mundi, against the Lovers of the World by Graham Wilcox. I think his middle name's in there too, and I don't remember what his middle name is right this second. Oops. Anyways, I read too much this week. Graham Thomas Wilcox, as it is. I also got Rune to Ruin by Greg Amato, which is also an arc. I have not started that one yet. I got that today. And I also read some of the Double Star and Other Fantasies by Jane de la Vaudère, which I made a video on. So if you want to hear more thoughts on that, just go watch that video. I also am almost done with Elminster's Daughter. Considerably better than Elminster in Hell. I'm really enjoying this one, actually. I'm very close to finishing it, too. I'm a little over halfway Pool of Twilight. Kind of same thing. I'm not feeling it as much as I was the first two novels, but it's not bad. I also picked back up Terra Incognita by DMR. I have one story left in this. I'm going to try to review this soon because I'm trying to give my dues to the Sword and Sorcery community. Might have something to do with the fact that I have a Sword and Sorcery novella coming out on Tuesday, but still, it's stuff I've pushed off for too long, and so now I felt like I'm in the mood. So another one, I'm also one story away from finishing the Obanax and Other Tales of Horror and Heroes and Horrors. Yeah. By Kirk A. Johnson. Started this one a couple years ago as well. What's left? I'm really enjoying these, actually. Same with the Terra Incognito ones. So I have some other collections I would like to get to. One collection I just actually got this week, so one for the book haul, To Walk on Worlds by Matthew John. Yeah, he's got two first names. And then another one, let's see. I didn't get these just now, but Track Snow Leopard by Dario Kyoge. Haven't gotten to this. I need to do that. Also, Rake Fire, Another Story is by Jason Ray Carney, which I have out, but just don't have it on my desk. I need to get to that. So I have some Sword and Sorcery stuff. Maybe I can keep pushing to get through right now. I've also written some stuff this week. So before I forget, let me double check my notes. I didn't get any further in Sinners by Pat Cadigan. Yeah, it looks good. I read one short story that wasn't attached to one of these books, and that was The Man Who Sold Rope to the Gnolls by Margaret St. Clair, which is a fun little story that's kind of an inspiration for the Gnolls and D&D. They're pretty different, but it's a fun short story that if you can just find, it's really short, so might as well read it. Just a kind of whimsy horror story. Um, so besides that, I wrote some stuff. I've been trying to write a novella with my pal Tim, and um, I'm not sure if it'll get published by someone. Get, I was talking to someone about potentially publishing a novella, and so it was like proposed that I put forth an idea for one. That was a few months ago, but we kind of seem to have actually gotten off the ground with it this week. I've written 3 chapters for it this week. Well, actually, that's not true. The story I wrote last week, I've kind of taken and decided, hey, this could work for a novella. So I've been, and the second chapter didn't is kind of a weird thing, but I wrote the third chapter today. So we'll see how that goes. Tim has written part of one chapter, but it's really good, and I don't mean anything against Tim. No, honestly, I love reading Tim's stuff. I read most of my stuff, and I think this is garbage, or I think I like this, but no one else seems to. I don't get anything published. Nothing ever gets published for some reason. Anyways, so that's not true. I do have some stories published, but last one was in December, so it's been a minute. Anyways, it's been a good week. It's been a good week. I'm happy with it. I'm probably actually gonna do some editing here on those stories right now. Or maybe I'll finish some of these things. Oh, too many options. I might finish Elminster's Daughter because I have very, very little left in that. So, anyways, leave from Noob's Lyceum. I'll catch you next time. Thanks for watching. Let me know what you guys have been up to this week. And I feel like I'm forgetting an arc. I feel like I just have so many arcs to read all of a sudden. So, sorry if it takes a while for me to get to yours, anybody.